Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It is Friday. It is Good Friday. It is a great Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it great? Well, you know why. And also, you're here with us, hanging out. As we just chill in the studio on a Friday, we got plenty of things to get to. I want to introduce you to a special guest today who's joining me in the studio. This is Art Chartrand. Art, tell everybody what you do exactly. Lean forward to the microphone and tell us what exactly you do.
No one really knows what I do. I tell all my kids I'm in the witness protection program.
Yes.
Actually, I'm an attorney by training, and
Okay.
I run around the country working with lobbyists,
Okay.
working on state laws.
Okay.
And I'm an old altar boy. So it's not a great Friday for me because I can't eat bacon on this day.
What?
And that's very tough for me, you know.
Wow.
I try to be a good old altar boy and stay away from the meat stuff.
Can I just tell you, I've already screwed that up. I'm not a big bacon guy either. It's just I made dinner last night with a bacon wrapped chicken, and I had some. Am I, as a Catholic, not supposed to eat bacon today?
I'm like Jim Gaffigan. A day without bacon is just not a good day.
I swear to God. Well, anyway, I know you've done some radio too, and your sis is a friend, and she's absolutely awesome. And she had mentioned you. I say, hey, come in and hang out with me tonight. We'll talk politics. You are a conservative. That's cool.
I have an opinion on everything.
All right. Well, you know what? And I always say about people on the radio. I say opinions are like a-holes. Everybody's got one. But the last thing talk radio needs is another a-hole. And that's why I try to do opinion and also other stuff as well. But you are conservative. That's cool. And well, let's just have some fun tonight. Let's talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm conservative, but I have some wild views on a number of things that drive my conservative friends just crazy.
Now, this is interesting. And by the way, you'll notice the delightful tray of I smoked sausage. I actually smoked that sausage. Sausage, cheese. Your sister's in the background. She doesn't want to be seen.
Throw some
Nancy,
over at her.
she's cover me up. Anyway, but I have some delightful sharp cheddar, a nice baguette, some good mustard, and some sausage that I actually smoked myself. So enjoy that as we get into the program here. A lot of things on the plate. I want to talk a little bit about obviously these spoiled brats, leftists from the Parkland shooting, and how they're avoiding the conservative families, the families who also were injured and hurt, and these kids are being used as puppets by leftist organizations. And I'll get into that in a second. I have some audio I want to share and some video I want to share with you as well. And of course, your comments in real time as I look to the page here. Who's already joining us? JB. What's up, JB? Where are you watching? Oh. JB, if you're going to have a cold beer, have a cold beer. Jerry is watching. Thank you very much. Mary Ruth and Allison, thank you very much for, Allison Besa. Is that?
Oh, my Lord.
That's Allison. Oh, my God, it's your sis.
Check
or your
her
daughter.
ID.
Your daughter. Hi, Allison. How are you? Look at your mom in the background there. She's all sweaty. What the hell's going on? She comes into the house. She's like, oh, what's going on? You know what's going on? Now she's not mad at me.
This means I'm going to have to clean up my act, Rob.
Yes. No, you don't need to clean it up. So let's get started on this. One thing I want to mention right off the bat, which is kind of funny. Did you hear about Hillary Clinton? She did a speech at Rutgers University. Did you hear this?
I did not.
You did not? Oh, my God.
I try not to listen.
Wait till you hear this. So Hillary Clinton was invited to speak at Rutgers University. And she was paid substantially less than she was as Secretary of State. She was making $250,000, $500,000 a speech. Well, she got invited to Rutgers University, and guess what? Are you ready for this? This is spectacular. She got invited, and she is speaking for $7,000 less than Snooki from Jersey Shore. Did you know she got $25,000? She got $25K to speak at Rutgers. Can you believe that?
Well, Snooki can do more for you nowadays than Hillary can. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's kind of funny that she's been beaten twice by a reality show person.
I almost get that much for speaking. So, hey.
But she got $32K, Snooki or whatever the hell her name is. She got $32K, and Hillary Clinton got $25K for speaking at Rutgers. Just kind of embarrassing for Hillary Clinton. But she used to
You can have her on your show.
Who, Hillary or Snooki?
Cash, we get them both.
Dear God in heaven, I would rather have Snooki on my show
Both
than
have the most important things to say.
I would much rather have Snooki on my show. I do have some video. Let me find this real quick here. I forgot to. Here we go. This is Hillary Clinton speaking at Rutgers University. I'm going to go ahead and add this as we get going here on the front page.
You're so complicated. Most admired woman in the world.
There we
More
are.
than any other woman. And at the same time, and right now, people saying, get off the public stage and shut up, which is something we're hearing all the time. Yeah. How do you...
Most admired woman in the world? Is it? Do you think she's the most admired woman in the world?
You don't even want to get me started there.
All right, here we go.
Well, that began to happen after the election. Yeah. And, the election was...
Now, a lot of people are saying, what she's saying here, Art, is that a lot of people are saying for Hillary Clinton to go away. Are you saying that? Because I am, actually.
I have no desire to hear anything the woman has to say.
Thank you very much.
I'm with you there.
Here is how she reacts to it.
Pretty traumatic.
Think about this. This woman was making $400,000 or $500,000 a speech. She's down to making $25,000 at Rutgers. That is obviously the reason being is that she has lost her ability to sell influence.
Absolutely. No question.
I mean, come on. Can you imagine? Let me ask you this, Art. If Hillary Clinton had won the presidency, what sort of political influence she could have sold as the president? It would have been breathtaking, wouldn't it?
I think there'd be a line outside the White House.
Sorry. But I think it would have been absolutely breathtaking. The amount of influence that she could have sold.
Well, she sold plenty before she even got there, and no one seemed to care.
Exactly.
Mean, the Clinton Foundation, everything was for sale as far as they were concerned.
Let's
it was
go
all
ahead
about
and
money.
Hear what she says about being told to go away.
I don't want to have to hear about it. Totally, that's how I felt. I took a lot of long walks.
Okay, here we go.
To deal with it. But then I did decide that I had to figure out what happened because I was confused about it.
Here's the reason you lost. You're a terrible, terrible, terrible candidate and a terrible person.
And ended up, writing a book called that.
What happened was the book.
And I was really struck by how people said that to me. Mostly people in the press.
Go away.
For whatever reason, like, go away. And I had one of the young people who works for me go back and do a bit of research. They never said that to any man who was not elected.
Okay, now she's absolutely wrong. They did. I don't know if you remember this, Art. George Bush was told to go away when Barack Obama took office. Go away. George Herbert Walker Bush was told to go away when the Clintons were elected.
I think Jefferson may have been told to go away at one time.
I think so too. But that's the fallacy to me. It is a false narrative that she says that because of her sex, she was the only person told to go away.
Well, certainly because of her gender. I don't know much about her sex.
Well, I think we have an idea about her sex. But no, seriously, with regard to her gender, she has a gender chip on her shoulder. She is convinced that one of the reasons that she lost was because she was a woman. Why? Let me just ask you this, because I don't know you personally very well. Why did she lose? On a serious point, why did she lose?
It's very clear. When you're running for president, there are two things that matter to the public. Personality, which matters way too much in my book, and policy.
Yeah.
She had neither personality nor policies. A lot of people don't like Trump, still don't like him, think he's a nutwad. They think he's just a charlatan. They think he's a former entertainer and a loose cannon. Oh, I got it.
Tasteless, tactless, the whole deal.
You don't have to like his personality. It's his policies. It's policies that matter. If we elected people based simply on personality, we'd have more people like Barack Obama. He was a great personality. The problem with him was his policies were bad.
Yeah.
You have to have one or the other. She had neither.
Well, and I think you and I agree on this, and I think maybe perhaps we are brothers in arms with regard to this past election in 2016. I was not a fan of Donald Trump, but the theme of the election, and I came up with this early on, was the American people are sick and tired of being told how to live their lives by people who go to D.C. and spend their lives telling us how to do that. That's what it was all about. Now, the same thing went for the Democrat Party, but the primary process was rigged in the favor of Hillary Clinton. So the Democrat Party had to swallow Hillary Clinton. That's a really bad way to say that. But anyway, they were forced to do that. Both sides were ready to go out of here, all right? Donald Trump, for his tacky, tasteless, whatever as he was, he's an absolute rejection of the establishment in Washington, D.C., and he continues to be that. Now, he crystallized as a candidate the last 8 weeks of the election with Steve. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Used to be with Breitbart. Steve. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. Red nose. I'm blowing his. Anyway,
I'll get it in a minute.
He changed the message to something. I think you and I, because I think we're similar in thought. We both found Donald Trump to be a little. We rather had somebody else in there.
Well, a lot of people say he's not presidential. He's redefining what presidential is.
I'm glad to say he's not presidential now.
I am too. Do you want somebody who just cracks good jokes, who's really smiling, who says nothing, takes no positions on anything, and is disrespected around the world? Or you want someone who stands for something? At the end of the day, people voted on their pocketbook. They always do.
Yes.
James Carville said that a long time ago. It's about the economy. It's about your pocketbook. And geez, what did they predict before he was elected? That stock market will crash, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it crashed upward.
Oh my God! Now,
big time.
But let's talk real quick here again. And my guest here is Art Chartrand. He's not a lobbyist. He's not a lobbyist. No, you are. What do you call yourself?
I'm a lobbyist broker.
A lobbyist broker. Yeah. Okay, so you're not quite a whore, but you're pretty darn close, is what you're trying to say. You're not a complete whore, but you're kind of a whore.
These are all some of my best friends in the world.
You're a pimp, is what you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Well paid one, though, fortunately.
But I think you and I, like I said, I was uneasy going in until the last 8 weeks, and then I went, okay, we could do this. Is going to work. This is going to work. Now that I've seen the guy in the White House, I look and I see, and I go, holy crap, is he kicking ass? What do you think?
Well, I think so, too. He's getting rid of people. And the liberal press, and you try on CNN, MSNBC, they're just dying, having conniptions. The people are leaving on him right and left. This is awful.
Steve Bannon.
That's who you're thinking of earlier. So what?
Sorry, thanks.
Every president has gotten rid of a lot of his staff and gotten rid of a lot of the cabinet secretaries. He's clearing house. He's doing just like he did on TV. He's firing people that don't perform.
Can you imagine a guy who made his trademark is "you're fired" is firing people? I like the fact that usually in the federal government you can't fire people.
Yeah, well, under the prior administration, nobody got fired. Doesn't matter how. Lois Lerner, remember all these people? No matter what they did, they couldn't get fired. Now he's doing what the people want, is that you don't perform, you're going to be out of here. And, there need to be limits on government service. People shouldn't be in these jobs for life, whether it's judges, presidents, senators, politicians, or bureaucrats. They need to get out and get into the real world once in a while.
I agree, and I've always said if you're going to do, let's do term limits to Senate terms for congressional representative terms. I think that would be appropriate. A lot of the times, what people do is they move to Washington D.C. They spend their entire lives there. They make a lot of money. They get book deals. If they get voted out, they get very rich.
But it applies across the board. I'm thinking the same thing for John McCain and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
These guys need to be out of there. Most of them aren't even quite lucid these days.
Well, McCain, God bless you. Bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Appreciate your service, but get the heck out of here.
Thank you very much.
Out of my country. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with the policies of Donald Trump thus far. I had heard in the first year he had completed already 65% of the promises that he made during the campaign, which is well ahead of Ronald Reagan's. And if you look at, we just had the GDP, the fourth quarter, had been revised to above 3%. Barack Obama's, it was about 1% per quarter. I'm not going to get all technical here, but about 1% max the entire 8 years of his presidency, which I say the United States economy barely succeeded in spite of Barack Obama. Now we have, and it's not because of Donald Trump, but his policies. It is because of the policies. And more so, taking the chains of the Obama administration off of business. That's what's really doing.
And not everything he's doing is great, and people are complaining, he's not living up to his promises. But you got to remember, a president can only be a cheerleader. It still takes the Congress to act, and even though Republicans control Congress, they don't have the votes to get most things done.
Yeah.
All it takes is the Democrats we have in there to say no, and that's what they're doing. So you can't blame him for not building the wall and doing all these things he promised. That was his goal, and it's still maybe yet to see if it's reached.
Well, I'm positive, and I got to tell you, as far as the midterms are concerned, or 2018, a lot of people are considering there's going to be some sort, and I don't like to call it a blue wave. It's not a blue wave. It's a Democrat wave. The Democrats are red. We are blue. That whole fallacy, that whole crap was created in 2008 to throw the scent off of the fact that Barack Obama was a radical leftist. So Republicans are not red and Democrats are not blue. That's bull crap. But if you're expecting some sort of a Democrat wave in 2018, you are going to be very, very, very disappointed, because it's not going to happen. There is no populist wave against Donald Trump's policies. There are people who are being impacted positively by his tax policy, by the economy, and all the Democrats have right now is negativity, negativity, negativity. Impeach Donald Trump, throw him out. What for?
Well, the Democrats are following the thing. The more you say things, maybe the more people will believe it. They just keep repeating.
Well,
they keep trying to project that the Republicans are in all kinds of trouble. You turn on CNN, the Republican Party is falling apart. Donald Trump is in tons of trouble, and Stormy Daniels is some sort of big problem in America. Nobody in America really gives a dang about Stormy Daniels any more than really a lot of us Republicans cared about what Bill Clinton did with interns in the White House. We don't care. We care about the economy. We care about foreign policy. We care about taxation. We care about education. And we can't have the liberal press and MSNBC and all tell us that we don't believe in those things.
Well,
they do.
And the whole Stormy Daniel things. It was come on. It laid a goose egg. It really, the big thing, what was it, 60 Minutes? And everybody thinks that this is going to make a big old difference and all that. She didn't even really reveal that much.
Well, she revealed a lot of other places.
Thank you very much. For the first time, we have a real deep throat in the government.
But was anybody surprised that he never pretended that he wasn't kind of a wild guy?
He's a billionaire playboy.
If we judge our politicians based on that, we would have never had JFK. We would have never had RFK. We would have never had Martin Luther King.
Was Trump married to Melania? I don't think he was even married at the time.
Again, it's no big surprise.
Listen, if Stormy Daniels and you're unmarried and you got a 27-year-old porn star, all right, you don't need to answer the question. You don't need to answer.
We'll move on. No one cares. No one cares except the guys on CNN every night.
And honestly, it is as far as I'm concerned, a major, major goose egg with regard to that whole thing. And the funny thing is, the lawyer was so convinced that something was going to come out of this, and nothing did come out of it. Well, nothing came out of it.
Except the rumor that I think Matt Lauer is now dating Stormy Daniels.
Well,
I don't know if it's true.
I'm sure he would have gone for it. I'm sure he would have gone for it. Let's move on a little bit here, because I've got some other things I want to cover. Whoops, got a little noise there on the computer. I'm a little disappointed with this, and we've been talking about the movement that has happened since the Parkland school shootings, and how this clearly was not an organic movement. You don't have a bunch of kids who are, and I've said this before, a bunch of kids who on February the 13th were more concerned about prom, who still go to a pediatrician, who still get a sticker when they go to the dentist. And the next day there was a tragic incident in their school. And it's terrible, and I will not take away from that, dear God in heaven, of course. But there are some people who are ready to step in, and I've said this about the left in this country, particularly with the gun control thing. They have their, and I think it's a perfect analogy, their magazine, their political magazine, locked and loaded before the event happens. So when it happens, they have all of their talking points ready. 1 week before all of the burial ceremonies and all of this were over, they had already planned a march on Washington, D.C., the March for Our Lives. And that is what happened here. Now, they found a group of what I call, instead of useful idiots, I call them useful ignorance. They are useful ignorance. These are kids. David Hogg, unfortunately, he's having his ego fed. He's being told, you are fantastic. You are the leader of a new movement. He is all this. And they're using this kid, and as the days progress, his head is inflating more and more and more and more. Before we get to what he said about Laura Ingraham, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Art. What's going on?
Well, I think that the kids are being taught a very bad lesson here. Everybody's heart reaches out to the victims in this thing, the people who died and their families who died. But to turn this into something it's not, that it's about guns, is just, I think, awful. I think the kids need to first look at, there are a lot of things to blame here. There's a lot of things we can do about guns. There's a lot of things we can do about education. But I think these kids need to look at themselves first. They were at the front lines of this. Where do you see where it was Klebold and Harris, I hate to say their names, but back in Columbine in Colorado, these were disenfranchised kids. These kids were bullied. They were not treated well by their fellow students. And I think before the students and people like David Hogg start blaming everybody else, blaming guns, blaming the Republican Party, blaming Laura Ingraham or anybody else, is maybe to take a hard look at themselves and saying, what could we have done? Did they reach out to this kid?
They did. They didn't reach maybe so much of the kid. As so many kids, they look at this strange kid who's coming in, and he's weird, and he's all this. But they were telling administrators, this guy is dangerous. They were telling it 70 times. 70 times, the authorities, the administrators, the Broward County Sheriff's Department, the FBI were told. And even Scott Peterson, the guy who was a coward and didn't go in and stop this thing, he even said this guy should be involuntarily put away until they figure out what's going on. So this was a massive, massive failure of administration and government on a profound level.
Well, we've bought this buzzword for a long time. See something, say something. That isn't it. That's only half the equation. It's got to be see something, say something, and damn it, do something. Yeah. And it's that do something that you bring up. No one did anything, but I'm not even sure all the students did what they might have done. Did they just complain about this kid? Or
I think they were real. They were kids legitimately telling people, we're afraid of this guy.
But did they reach out to this kid? How did this kid become who he is?
Who's going to reach out? But here's the thing. Who's going to reach out to a kid who acts like a psycho? Who's a kid? You're not intellectually, you're not psychologically ready to approach a kid who's a psycho.
Well, I'm getting to the root cause of these problems.
Oh, I'm all about bullying. Don't get me wrong. I was bullied as a kid.
Guns and the teachers not acting, which they didn't, and the sheriff, who was a complete moron, responding. The parents let everybody down. The law enforcement let everybody down. The school district let everybody down. But I just think these students still need to first look at themselves and what they're doing through social media and everything else, through their own brethren out there. And was this kid disenfranchised early on? I don't know that he was, but I think it's a valid question to ask.
Well, here's the thing that I find the most troubling, is that there were kids telling people, I'm worried about this guy. There were kids telling administrators. There were people in the neighborhood who were telling people. Here's the thing that I find remarkable, is that the left, the administration, whatever, they don't listen to kids until after it's happened. And now suddenly the children, David Hogg, is the most important thing in the world. We should listen to everything he has to say.
Well, he says it with a pretty foul mouth. That's the other thing. If the kid wants, and by the way, I admire him to this extent, and the other students, the 17-minute walkout. At least they're paying attention. They're getting involved. For years, the millennials have just been asleep at the switch. They don't read the news. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who their elected representative is. They don't know who the local town mayor or the sheriff is. If this has at least woken them up to be involved and pay attention, that's a good thing. But David Hogg doesn't need to come out on national TV and drop F-bombs all over the place. He's just hurting himself and his cause.
David Hogg is a little beast that's been created by a lot of people who had already laid the infrastructure for an uprising against the Second Amendment. That's what it's all about. University of Central Florida international student abruptly changed his appearance, called his high-powered weapon a sniper rifle, is being deported to China. Wen Liang Sun, 26, violated the terms of his F-1 visa. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, for some odd reason, authorities were able to catch this guy, who went out and bought a LWRC 300 blackout rifle, ammunition, tripod, as well as a 308 Ruger precision caliber rifle with a bipod and scope. Changed his hair color like the Colorado shooter.